The idiom today is called a crafty rabbit has 3 burrows. In Chinese, it's called 狡兔三窟. And basically, it's a Chinese way to remind you that you always gotta have backup plans. Hi everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a Chinese idiom video in what feels like a millennium. And because it's the year of the rabbit, I wanted to introduce a crafty rabbit has 3 burrows because this is probably my favorite Chinese idiom regarding a rabbit. So you might be wondering, why isn't it enough to have just one burrow? Why does a rabbit have to have a home up in the north, another burrow in the south, and a Central Park penthouse? Well, kids, it's because you're living in a world that's full of hungry foxes, ambitious wolves, and annoying kids who are always trying to stick their hands into rabbit holes. That sounded a little weird, huh? Well, here's how the story goes. A long time ago, there was a chancellor, and his name was Meng Changjun. He was very wealthy, he had a lot of power and privilege, and so back in the day, when you were wealthy and you had power, you would invite a bunch of house guests. And house guests are basically people who live at your McMansion, free of room and board, and in return, you offer them advice or services. This particular guest, his name was Feng Xuan, and Feng Xuan was extremely smart. One day, the chancellor, Meng Changjun, told Feng Xuan to go and collect debts from a neighboring town called Xuedi. Feng Xuan gladly takes this job, and so he goes to the town called Xuedi with these contracts that stated the villagers all had to pay back their debt. When he got to the village, however, he decided to tell all the villagers that Meng Changjun was a fantastic chancellor and he is hereby erasing everyone's debt. And to prove to the villagers that he was serious, Feng Xuan takes all the contracts stating the amount of debt and he throws them into the fire, basically burning everything and essentially erasing all of the data. Then Feng Xuan goes back to Meng Changjun and tells him exactly what he did. At first, Meng Changjun was very upset. Why let villagers just live their happy lives? Because if you collect their debts, that means Meng Changjun becomes more wealthy, right? What politician does not want to be more wealthy? But Feng Xuan assures Meng Changjun that by doing this good deed, one day it'll be very beneficial for the chancellor. So fast forward a few years, the chancellor actually lost his job due to some political restructuring, okay? So he lost his job, lost his mansion, and lost his many house guests, and the only person that was left was Feng Xuan. Meng Changjun is feeling pretty depressed right now because he doesn't have a place to live. And this is when Feng Xuan told him, hey, you can always fall back on that town called Xuedi. Meng Changjun packs up his bags and they ride into the town Xuedi. Remember the town where he erased all the villagers' debts? Now, he hasn't even set foot in this town yet, and just miles away from actually entering the town, all of the villagers came out to greet him and welcomed him with open arms. As the story goes, this is when Feng Xuan supposedly, but famously said, a crafty rabbit must have 3 burrows. And that is where the story ends. Ever since that story, Chinese folks have been using the term 狡兔三窟 to express that you always want to make backup plans, diversify your portfolio. Take me, for example. I'm a pretty serious gamer, and when you want to play a battle royale game, for instance, well, I sometimes do come up with a couple of plans. My first plan could be I choose a hero with very damage-heavy abilities, and we just charge in with brute force. Now, if the enemy sees through my plan, then I always have plan B, which is I rely on my well-coordinated team to carry me to victory. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I'll fall back on plan C, which was before the fight even started, I stashed a lot of loot and health packs and healing potions, and that's how I cheated my way to victory. Now, of course, I don't think there's any video game out there that will allow me to activate all those 3 plans, but you get my point, right? Now, one thing I like to do for all of my videos is that for every Chinese idiom, there's always a downside. I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, there's a downside to having too many backup plans. The The first one would be analysis paralysis. It might lead some people to start overthinking and become indecisive that they don't end up getting anything done. Sometimes having too many backup plans could also lead to a lack of commitment. Another one is resource allocation. If you're spreading your effort too thin instead of just focusing on one really, really good plan, then what you get is maybe 3 really poorly made burrows or 3 really bad plans. And this last one is not too detrimental, but making too many plans could also lead some folks to just have overwhelming anxiety because now you have to plan for every single possible contingency, and that can be pretty immobilizing for some people. Like all of my idiomatic advice, 狡兔三窟, or a crafty rabbit has 3 burrows, should be applied judiciously. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like the crafty rabbit, I hope you guys will also find balance in commitment, focus, and effective use of resources. The next time you guys see a rabbit, don't underestimate it, because that rabbit is the smartest, sharpest strategist in the zodiac, or maybe even the entire animal kingdom.